Hello everyone, my name is Scalti, and welcome back to our Satisfactory Let's Play. Last time around, we went ahead and accumulated a handful of Fix-It coupons and made a nice sizable purchase from the awesome shop of all the different stylizing assets that we would want for future permanent factories. And with that, we also went ahead and applied these to our existing coal generator system, along with updating it a little bit, making it just look a little bit more polished, and also at the same time went ahead and headed inside to restructure how we did our water system overall, cleaned it up, made it a little bit more easier to manage and upgrade in the future. All right, with that, let's get into the next episode. I hope you enjoy. Would anyone like some Toblerone by chance? I believe that's what that is. That's like the Matterhorn, which Toblerone candy is based on. Something like that. I don't know. I'll have to double check. Anyway, so it's been a minute since the last episode for those watching live. I kind of fell off mainly because I made a critical error with the last 2 episodes worth of recording, in that my microphone did not record properly once again, rather than redoing the entirety of that content, because it was quite extensive. If you've been following my content, you've seen that I created a new factory guide for the stators, rotors, and motors. So we got motors, we got stators, and we should have rotors in here. Yes. I don't think this is set up correctly then. It is. That factory was built during the Let's Play. I'm sad to say that, you know, that exploration process was not, is not present. But there will be more, because we're going to be working on another factory, where I will talk about that process and kind of go through how I'm designing it, why I'm designing it, etc. Or like why I'm designing it the way I am, essentially. So to provide some context as to what was missed, unfortunately, we have our factory up here. It's looks a little different than what was done in the guide. You know, this one was created first, and then I, made some improvements after going through the alpha, essentially, design. However, the biggest difference in these builds, which you might have seen as we were leaving the main base area, was the truck station. And I have started messing around with trucks and automating their path. You can see the truck leaving over there. Great little dude. It handles actually remarkably well in the desert, for the most part. It would have been really funny if I looked over and he just, fell over. So the factory is up top, but then here we have our little side entrance. So coming through here, truck comes in. We have the boom arm with some fancy lighting through the not usage of beams, but we do have the lighting in here, and it's kind of tucked away using the 45-degree tilted walls. And then essentially we have it just perfectly lined up, essentially where the crane is accessible and not clipping the output of the actual truck station. Hole here is not clipping through anything. You got the little Fix-It logo in there. So I thought this is a really awesome solution. I guess I can show some of the bones. It's nothing overly fantastic, but so that's essentially how I have it set up in the back. Obviously there's quite a bit of clipping. I'm using a full coal node for fuel, and so to kind of show what we have going on in terms of how we're getting the resources here. I don't know if I can jump on top of this. I don't think so. That's a weird way to snap, I suppose. It's fine. So we have all of our nodes. We have we have a coal node, 2 coal nodes based on the lines here going off in this direction. And then over here we have our iron, and then over there we have our copper. And we're just using the big frame pillars essentially to route all of this. And so I didn't realize that we would not need as much coal as I was feeding the truck station. So once we have the opportunity to upgrade this area, we'll just tap into that coal node, or honestly deconstruct that line and use it for something else. And then in terms of actually manually going in and acquiring these resources, we can just go in here, and I'm using the same thing with the concrete to kind of hold a limited availability. So essentially, if we're over in this area and we need the resources, we can tap into it. Otherwise, we do have the truck being automated, taking things back to our main base, or like localized area. And then last but not least, the only other thing that was accomplished in the last 2 episodes was kind of reworking our quartz. Did the math on it and whatnot and got everything kind of worked out. Redid up the... that's right, they respawned due to some bug issues. Stand by. Oh, they have horns on the front, so they're like a charging variant, it looks like. That's pretty cool. I really like the new look of these too. I can just honestly tank them, to be fair. Especially with how much damage the Xenobasher does. Alright, that was fun. So we have 2 different miners set up. We have 120 out of this one, and I think the same out of this one? Yes. So we have a total of 240. And essentially what we're doing is we have 4 over on this side set up to make our quartz crystals, and then the remainder over here set up to produce silica. But we're doing some load balancing, if you will. So we're taking essentially 30 off of the line and bringing it over, and then we have essentially 150 divided by 4 to get us the 37.5, right? 120 divided, or sorry, 150 divided by 4 at 37.5 here, and then the rest is again making that silica. And then we have our smart splitter, so we have a full storage, not a full storage, we have a semi-full storage, I believe. Or actually, this was before? Yes. Okay, so semi-full storage of concrete and silica. I'm sorry, silica and quartz crystals. And then just the remainder is being sent over on a Mark III belt into the sink, to which we are, well, we're getting an insane amount of points because I took all the build-up from the Rotor Stator Motor Factory and synced it. So we have an access to silica, so that way we can make our full frame windows that require silica. That was the main reason why I kind of came back here and revamped all of that. Also, I've been playing a decent bit of Valheim lately, so my keybinds are a little backward. And the thing that we had started working on that I'm going to be tearing down and redoing, essentially in the spirit of someone made the comment, I can just perpetually keep making temporary factories. Anyone can do that, and that, you know, the whole kind of intrigue and unique aspect of my content is that, you know, I'm showing you guys the unique style that I've, you know, brought to the game essentially. So I want to do right by you all. Essentially, this is a 30 per minute encased steel beam factory. As you can see here, currently not operating, I believe, due to power. Let me double check that. I'm pretty sure it's disconnected due to power. But, yeah. Yes, I did disconnect it. We did have some power issues. Let's see if those are still around. Because I haven't, like I said. Ugh. Oh, we're fine. Oh, that's with the battery though. That battery is counting down. 20. Max consumption. Yes, so we need to revise power before we even actually get started. So that is on today's docket. We're going to take a look at our coal generator situation. And I believe now that we have Mark III belts... Actually, no, we already did all that. Go back and, yeah, just revise our power. Alright, so I did mention we are going to be expanding our coal power. That's what we've done. I'll quickly go over this. Quite simple. So we have coal and coal. Oh, I fell down. Also have my shopping list on the right for what we're going to need to build some encased industrial beams. So yeah, we have our coal coming in on a singular line. This then gets fed down. So actually we can go down to the store. Take a look at this first. Pretty much straightforward like what we've done before. Go down the store here. Nice little viewing arrangement. And then I brought the water extractors a little closer this time and brought them higher up. Initially on the inlet, if you will. But we have our just traditional, in this instance, you know, we got a 3-pump system bringing our fluid all the way up as needed. And then we did change a little bit of how all of the piping here works. Actually, I'll go above and delete the floor out so we can kind of take a look at this a little better. I forgot that's there. Excuse me. Oops, there we go. So, it's a little different than how we had it last time, but essentially all the fluid fills up into this and then drains down and in and then goes back up. Sort of situation. It's a little slower to start up because of how the the fluids fill the pipes. But so yeah, pretty straightforward. It's also raining in the desert, which is kind of interesting. Oh, you get rain on this surface, right? It's like raining here. I don't have rain bouncing off of these surfaces just yet. I believe that's like in the works or something. They have like rain bouncing off of other objects. But anyway, so that's our power. That has brought us up to 3,600 megawatts, which is fantastic. So that is, 1,200 megawatts of headroom, 1,250-ish running up. So what I'd like to do, based on how we essentially, the nodes that we're tapping into before, we will continue to tap into. So we have our 2 iron nodes here, we have a limestone there, and then we have a limestone node back in there, somewhere in that general area. And then we have our pure coal over the ridge here, or over this little dune. Where am I oh, it's all the way over here. There it is. So yeah, our pure coal is all the way over here, so the belting system is going to be fairly long. Not terrible though. I think what I'm going to do, based on how they're positioned, essentially, kind of do them where they all, for the most part, meet on like a northeast, southwest cardinal direction standpoint. So it'll probably be something like here. I will be incorporating the truck station again as well. So I'm going to go ahead and take some time and kind of figure out how to do the base structure first, with the truck station included, and then we will go from there in terms of laying everything else out. So, alright, so I think I found a fairly solid area. So we have our 2 pure coal nodes over here, we have our 2 iron and single limestone node over here. All 3 are normal. We have a normal limestone here. And then as you can see, these are the pure coal nodes. So what we could do is I'm thinking we bring the coal all the way over in a straight line and then split here. And then we'll feed 1 line of coal here because we need 480 coal. And we can get that off of a Mark II overclocked. Granted, we have both 2 pure nodes here. I'm going to build the factory as if we'll have Mark IV logistics. So I'll do a single line of 480 off of one node, and then the other line, I'm going to take that all the way down to here. Because over on this region of the map here, this is where we have our... actually, I can't turn on... I'm thinking of smart... the interactive map. We have our coal power facility over here. I'm thinking what we'll do is we'll take the extra coal node and bring it all the way over and then down and feed into that for any additional power consumption that we might need to at least, you know, once we get to oil, essentially, and hopefully turbo fuel. So the coal will come down this way, and then we'll bring this limestone, we'll bring it straight north until it intersects with these 3 nodes here. And then we'll bring that over to us. So essentially, if we go into more detail, there's an iron node here, here, and then this is limestone. So we'll probably just bring the limestone and the iron over in line with this here. And then we'll connect this iron up, and the iron will just go straight east-west and reach us right where we're at here. So what I'm going to do first is we'll take our 4-meter foundation. And also, pro tip, I found this out, someone commented, and it makes a lot of sense. When you're snapping to the world grid, make sure you use a 2 or a 4-meter high foundation. When you use a 1 meter, you can't really split that. I mean, you can split it in half to a half meter, but the 2 and the 4 meter will more appropriately snap. So that way you don't have a half meter offset when trying to connect to something else that's snapped to the foundation. Or snapped to the world grid, or so. And so, you know, we're going to have our miner on top of here, like that. Might need to, yeah, we'll expand this out one more, like so. And then this will run completely east-west, so this would essentially get raised up a little bit. Call it there. Then we'll put our conveyor wall here. Actually, before we do that, I want to identify how we're going to be routing these 2 as well. So we might end up doing like a 3-wall or something like that. So, but yeah, I'm going to get all of these nodes connected up. And then before I bother running them over to here, we're going to first have to figure out what size foundation, or what size factory we're going to need to ultimately build all this up. So go ahead and get all these placed and tune back in after that. Okay, so I have the rough layout for our iron and our limestone. So we have our normal limestone, normal iron. This is a normal iron, and then we have a normal limestone on the far end of this structure here. So we have our limestone all the way down there. I will be joining these together, not with the foundations like this. I will be using the large frame pillars with some supports in the middle along the way for, you know, some practicality. And so essentially we have our limestone coming in here. This is dropping down below into this merger here, which is merging with the other limestone node. Again, you know, we're going to be building this as if we have Mark IV belts. So this is going to be a total of 450 limestone coming in. And then the bottom tier here, this is our normal iron node that's coming over. And then meeting up with our other normal iron node. And this will be going out as a 480 line to our factory. And if you look here at the compass up top, you can see our pure coal nodes are right over there. So we'll have those again coming down and over, and we'll be building on top of this stone structure here. So I'm going to go ahead and just double check everything that we need for the factory, make sure I have a large enough footprint, accommodating the truck station, some local storage, and overall just general space for walkability, if you will. So I'm going to figure that out, and we will continue on. So we have a general idea of how to kind of size things out. What we have shown here. So this is essentially this floor. This is a base floor that would be putting the truck station on and our local storage. So if we go down, so essentially the truck station will be on this side, and then we'll probably end up doing a local storage system probably like here, like a little offset sort of situation due to the rock here, which is totally fine. Not a huge complication. But what I was doing here is trying to, identify what is the overall minimum size that we need for the build based on how we can kind of space things out. And so to quickly kind of cover that, we are going to be utilizing 12 foundries. Technically for the build, you only need 10.7, so it's not a really clean number. So just by rounding up to the next whole number that is divisible by 3 or 4, based on logistics with like the splitters and mergers and stuff, is a solid way to do it. So taking that 10.7, running up to 12, and that gives us 4 sets of 3, which is a very easy way to load balance. And so essentially the six foundries we have here are split into 2 batteries or 2 systems of 3, 2 groupings of 3, with the full foundation space in between, just to get some symmetry. And so essentially this system or this configuration here will be reflected where we see the constructors, at least for the first floor, because that's all we're going to be making. On the first floor is just the steel ingots. And then the second floor, we'll be making our steel beams and our concrete. And the constructors for the concrete will be 10, because we got 450 limestone coming in. So we're going to need 10 constructors for concrete, and then 8 for the steel beams, giving us a total of 18. And so that's what we have here, is we have 9 on one side, as you can see. And yeah, I know we need 10 for the concrete, so essentially we're going to be doing a 1 to 5 load balancer and then splitting each of those 5 into 2 different lines each, giving us 10. So we'll have 9 making concrete on one side, and then on the opposite side we'll have one constructor making the last bit of concrete, and then we'll have 8 constructors in a line making our steel beams. Those will all group together, go up to the next floor, where as we based on what we have here, we'll have plenty of room for the assemblers to kind of, stretch their legs, making sure that they're not going to pull a flange. I don't know. And then, like I said, yep. So we'll have truck station on the... Actually, we could probably do truck station directly in the middle here, and then local storage off of this side, maybe. So if we had local storage on this side, plus the truck station, so I'd figure, if based on how we would kind of have the truck station configured similar to the other factory, is it would be something like truck station facing this way sort of situation, and then so essentially the output of the entire factory would come down, and what we would be able to do is just do some kind of simple split into that, and then split into our local storage, however that might be set up. But so I'm going to go ahead and tear all of this down now that we have the proof of concept, if you will, or more so just the layout identified. And then, similar to what I did in the factory, in the guide for that factory over there, we're going to, even though we're bringing all the belting over, we're going to have it drop down low and come in under the factory. So I'm going to get the truck station and the output local storage configured first, and then probably the floor up, which that might actually work out. The next floor up will have the inputs coming in for the coal, the iron, and the limestone. So, okay, so a little bit of a rework. So we went with 7 on the width. The length, this will remain as is. But we can see here we have our truck station in place. Got this all sorted out in here. And then for the output to the temporary storage, or to the local storage rather, we'll have it here, and then just kind of close this all in with walls. And they definitely made some adjustments to the texture, because you can see a clear distinction between the wall with the door and then the wall without the door. I'm not sure. Oh, there we go. Seems to have resolved itself. I think it's because the way you place the door like this. I'll show you on this side. Because I'm going to make this symmetrical. You can take the road barrier, place it in the middle, snap at your door, and then press Control. By default, if you look at the bottom, wait, where is it? Nope, they do not have it. But essentially the snap to guidelines replaces the object. And then just put the walls on each side here. And then again, you can see how it's a little different. You can definitely see the distinction in color. So just resample. Put it back without using the control replace method, and it goes in just fine. To get rid of the excess, we just hide it away with some extra walls here. Like so, and obviously it's clipping, but you know, it looks for the most part pretty natural. The original way this used to be done, actually, just to go on a mild tangent, that I remember doing it, is I would place the road barrier here, off center, take these, the door and do a side door, and when you change the orientation for the door is more in the middle, it used to directly line up right here with the middle of the foundation, and now it doesn't, which is a little weird. I'm not sure what's changed, but and then yeah, as I've been doing all this, I've been going through some of the alt recipes from the extra hard drives that we still had. Yeah. And it's been slow going, haven't gotten anything special overall, but so yeah, that's how we're going to do the temporary storage out here. I might add another foundation to the front here just to make it a little bit more of an entrance, perhaps. And I'm not sure where the output from the entirety of the factory will be going quite yet, but once I figure that out, we'll then be able to, you know, place the splitter here to prioritize local storage, and then once it's full, it'll go into here. And then what we'll end up doing is we'll actually take the truck that's stopping over at the other factory and bring it over to this one, and just have it all kind of join in on the same line and kind of start doing the automated storage over there. And I think once that's done, because we've purchased pretty much everything in the Awesome Shop. I'm gonna miss that. I actually went back real quick because I thought I did not have the road barriers unlocked, and went ahead and went back and grabbed the corner roofs to have these available, which are pretty nifty, if I might say so. So that'll be kind of fun to explore and check out. And oh, I bought this. So that's kind of fun. I have music turned off by default, so you can't hear anything playing, but I picked up the boombox, which I thought was a neat little unlock. And then I also bought the clean pipes, no indicator. So that'll be nice in certain circumstance where we don't really need to see the flow. I think it would be really neat to be able to show the flow indicator intentionally, you know, so like by default the flow indicator is hidden on everything, but except for in key places where it makes sense to troubleshoot. So I just want to give it that update as well, but I'm gonna go ahead and get this whole floor kind of closed in and then get the logistics for the inputs sorted out into how we're going to be kind of organizing out that first floor with all the foundries. So, all right. Okay, so the input belting system is complete. So we have all of our miners enclosed. We have our support structure for our belting. Let me bring that all the way over. And I kind of did a little bit of sprucing, or not sprucing, just a little bit of temporary decoration. I want to get the, you know, keep going with actually building the factory first, and then probably go back and do some proper touch-up and stylization of things. Yeah, this is just all temporary in terms of the look. But I don't want to get too caught up on the details just yet. So that all comes over. Again, we got the limestone on top and then the iron down below. And then did something a little interesting here. I don't know what the clean way to bring this down would be. I guess that works for now. So based on how we're kind of doing the belting, this kind of, it does work. And there's no clipping, technically. So the iron ore, we have one belt here, and we want to merge that into one line of 480. And then we have our, whoops. Going around in quick circles there. Then over in, oh, son of a gun, come on. And then over on this one, though, we have our merger just like cleanly right there. So nothing overly complicated, if you will. Actually, don't even need that, so just do it like that. And then yeah, so like the limestone's coming over top, iron's down below on this one. And it just comes over, and it does its little loop. And I guess if you're curious on how this was done, conveyor wall mount. Over on the side here, and then nothing here, and then one over there. And that's how I was able to get this appropriate curve. And then it just loops down and in. But I mean, you know, we have limestone coming in on this, and it's not going to make contact with the belt above. And the iron ore is definitely not going to come in contact with the bottom of the belt here. So all in all, I'm pretty sure this works from like a no clipping standpoint. It does look a little goofy, but it is hidden away. And then we have, essentially this is going to be our input floor. So we'll have our materials coming in from that end and this end. The limestone, you know, we're just going to kind of like put that off to the side and route it all the way up. I still need to put the support structures on the bottom of this expanse here. But then we're just tapping into that single pure coal node over here. And then we left the remaining one to eventually pipe down. If anything, what I might do, if we can like take into consideration, you know, our coal power over here and where that's coming in at, it could be worth our time to actually take the other coal node and bring it up on top of this and pipe it over and then loop it down on the outside and around this build. The other option, truthfully too, is we could actually just take it through the floor, loop it around this way, and then have an output, say like right here, and then this just goes all the way over and then connects up with the other coal, so that way if we wanted to, we can expand our coal power over in that area as well. But with unlocking oil in the next phase, we might not even need to do that. So, but this is where we're at, and then I'm just going to get this all divvied up once I kind of identify how to best do the logistics for the foundries on the floor above. So I'm gonna get working on that. So I just wanted to take a quick second on something that I've observed. So I got the logistics kind of sorted out, but I wanted to kind of go through, you know, the iterative process when designing the factories. So I guess first and foremost, let me show you what I've done down below. Real quick here. Also just note use of observation towers to get perspective. So we've built up our base logistics floor of our inputs. So again, just to make a really nice clean floor above this. This is, you know, could be interpreted as a significant waste of space, but we're not using that many resources in terms of the concrete for the foundations, in terms of that's very easy to acquire. We're wasting vertical space, if you will, but we have so much vertical space on our map that 4 meters, technically 5, isn't that wasteful. For a nice clean representation. So we have our coal from this side, iron from this side, and this belt here is for our concrete, which will be, or I'm sorry, our limestone, which will be going up separately. Not 100% certain yet. It's probably going to go all the way down and come up over here somewhere, or maybe in the middle. But we have our coal and iron that comes up to our next floor, which is here. And if you've seen my ASMR, my automated stators, motors, and rotors factory, this is a similar configuration because we're using steel ingots again. So we have our, I believe this is the iron coming up right on that side. Yep. So iron comes up, feeds into the splitters and whatnot, and then all splits out. And we do the 8 meter high, so 2 full walls space here, so that way we can stack our logistics like so. Also, something that I kind of like here is instead of using the stackable conveyor pull to try and, you know, simulate support, this is actually just the conveyor pull. You just essentially snap into the corner like so. Oops. At a 45-degree angle. Just go in one step from each side here. And just build up. And so you do that 4 times for each set, and it kind of looks like it gives it some support. I wish it had the same reflective material as it does. I mean, I guess technically it does have the same reflectiveness. It feels a little different than like the metal of this here. This feels a little bit more, we'll call it polished, right? It's clean. This has some scuff on it, but that's probably because they just, I mean, I guess technically they loop the texture, but anyway, I'm getting off topic here. Anyway, so the one thing that I kind of noticed here is if we look at how we're aligned here, the conveyor floor hole is directly along the intersection or the seam between these 2 foundations. And then that kind of messes with the alignment of the splitters. You know, it's not exactly, it's centered on the quadrant this way, but then it's not this way. Essentially what I'm talking about is if we were to center it on the quadrant, it would be here, you know, in terms of the edge against the foundation, the quadrant of it, versus where it's at now. And something I noticed, and is a kind of a semi-annoying behavior of the floor holes and lifts, is when placing a lift on a floor hole, if you look at the vertical, the chevrons here, that will dictate. So here, I'll rotate this one 90 degrees. So the chevrons are on the left and right, and then front and back, based on our current perspective. The default position, when I place it, you know, the lift faces towards us, and then the lift faces to the right. So essentially, if we look at the chevrons, the lift will default in to a side, regardless of the hologram, because I haven't clicked anything yet. The object will default adjacent, essentially on one of the sides that does not have the chevrons. But it's also not, like, if I take this, I'll build this one like so, and then I'll rotate this one 180 degrees. This faces right, this faces, oh, that did face left. Let me try. Rotate 180. That faces to us, that faces away from us. So being able to identify a consistent way in which the lifts are going to face based on build orientation is essentially a 50-50. Then I was looking at the solution over here on what would that process look like to make it easier, because in this example it snaps directly, if I build off of the floor hole, it snaps directly to the output of our foundry. If I build on this side, I have to then rotate it 180 degrees and then complete the build process and snap it in. So I was thinking, okay, we can't start from the output because then it's not aligned with the floor hole. So what if we move the floor hole? That's where we got over here. So I can either start and do this same whole process, or if you want, I can even redo the chevron like so, and it'll auto snap right. Then if you don't know what direction you're building in, have to either the entirety of the time, or I'm trying to think of the best way to explain this. If I were to place this lift or the floor hole here like so, and then I don't stop building and I take it and I rotate it 180 degrees and then I build it on, say, this side, this lift defaults to the right, this then defaults to the left. So you have to take the 50-50 shot of getting lucky that when you build this, it's going to default that way. Now, I believe if I start the build and stop the build and start it again, okay, so if I build it, oh, I didn't like that. Okay. Sometimes it will, sometimes the orientation will switch. So essentially the point I'm trying to make is that it's inconsistent in getting a guaranteed proper alignment when building. So the solution could be you just face you start at the output of the structure or the machine and then snap down like so. It's like, okay, that seems easier and a little faster. It's more consistent because you don't have to rely on the scroll wheel and rotating the orientation 180 degrees. Then I also noticed, oh, if I do that, then that helps with the alignment of the logistics down below in terms of the splitters and whatnot being aligned in the proper quadrants, if that makes sense. So I'm actually going to redo all the logistics down here and reorientate or reposition these lifts to be in the quadrant like so for the output, inputs and outputs. But essentially this is what the logistics are going to look like for the inputs into the foundries on the base floor. So a little bit long-winded there. But I'm going to go ahead and delete all of this and redo it and shift everything essentially in or out 1 meter. So, all right. Well, unfortunately, I just learned the lifts do not. So on the front, it's right at the edge of the foundation. It aligns properly with the lift. This is ever so slightly inside the foundation, and it does not align on the quadrant. Nor does it align if I start here. It does not actually connect. You have to build a belt to get it connected. So whichever way you look at it, something's going to be a little misaligned. So I think what I would rather do is push this all back, like push each foundry back. So that's in alignment, so just bring it back. Bring these closer like this. Oh, wait a second. Okay, yeah, sorry, here. So do this like that, and this like that. Which, the output here, based on how these go, so you can just come down here. This will have to go back one. So what we do for the outputs here, because if we're doing a symmetrical build, this is on the left, and that's on the left. So if we were to try and meet in the middle, there would be this curve, essentially, if we were to like merge into a, if we were to bring the belts into a merger. So the solution that I like here is we can kind of force align the lifts. And so what we do is, oops, I need to go back up. Bring it down one step. And then we can build it like this. And then connect in the middle. And because of how this is all aligned, you know, we don't have to worry about like the alignment of the mergers or anything here. Because the mergers are going to be in the middle anyway. And then it just comes in like that. Well, if I align the merger correctly. Like that. So the depth here isn't as relevant as, I mean, technically it's semantics, or not semantics, but just like preference. It's not like do or die one way or the other. It's just the personal preference. But I like the idea of affording the extra little gap. So that way when building the lifts, you can just build it like this. And it's a little faster to get them all connected. Don't have to worry about orientation as well. So actually I gotta redo all the foundries anyway. So just another little note I wanted to throw in there in terms of the orientation of things. So, alright, I shall continue this and then get started on the next floor. Alright, so we're ready to get our second floor started, and I'm just looking at how I want to, you know, how am I going to determine the verticality of how we're transporting objects to and from the floor above. So we're going to need 2 belts going up, one for our produced steel ingots, and then 1 belt going up for our limestone to go into our constructors to make concrete. And then we're going to need
a belt coming down that has our final product. And if I recall correctly, our final product, the storage location that I developed for it is over on this side here. And we have our truck station here. So we want the output to come down in this section here. So if we look, we are 4 to 5 foundations in. So that'd be here in terms of the output. Now granted, the other thing that we can do, because we do have a lot of logistics available underneath, is we don't necessarily have to bring the lift down on these two, even though it goes straight down. We could, based on the allotted space that we have over here, I was thinking we can have the entrance, if you will, to an extent, be on this side. The other thing I was thinking of is, like, based on this build over here, we do have a kind of entrance on the back end to get into access the actual storage locally. The way to get in and kind of navigate the remainder of the factory, the actual body of it, is through the front on this side here. But based on how high up we are here, I feel like a full-on set of stairs would be a little silly. So I'm wondering if maybe we look at where the localized storage is once more. Probably to build some watchtowers over here. Or lookout towers. If we were to say maybe go in here and then gain access up. But now that I think about it, we have all of our foundries on this side. So maybe it's not through here, but we go through this door to this side. And we have some type of navigation that leads up. So, for example, we can technically hide this rock away. Or we can leave it in. You know, it's not like we're going to be in here often. We can go up to 45 here, actually. So, we do something like this and go up. I think these are 2 meter. Yep, so we're safe to put a wall in here. Like so. And then we can do the road construction barrier trick, which, if I can find it. Don't think I actually have it on my hotbar. I do not. Okay, we'll put it on this one. Oh, I do here. It's the fence. If we go to 45 and start here, I believe. Nope, over one. Here. We can press control and replace the wall. Now we do have a little bit of a gap. This can be resolved by using a beam. And then we can just go ahead and zoop over this way. And we'll go to here. And then we can go ahead and grab a road barrier and do that one more time. Like so. And see if we get lucky. There's a little bit of shimmer. I'll accept it. And we'll just kind of just leave it like that. So we do have a little bit of shimmer. I think that's alright. And then what we can do here, since we have the room, is we can do... Maybe we just do foundations. So we'll do a 4 ramp. And do something like this. Come up underneath here. But we can kind of fake this. We can do... We go down to here. So we can't do... We would have to do at least a 1 meter foundation. I was thinking we could do something like this. Does this feel weird? It feels a little weird, doesn't it? I suppose we can do the tilted 4. Or... Oh, that is a bit weird. I wasn't really thinking about the fact that we have like logistics down here. Because I just feel like stairs on the outside of this would just look super silly. So I'm just thinking about some type of interior way in which we can navigate everything. I mean, honestly, I don't think we need to do anything overly extravagant. A simple solution would be to just kind of carve out this space here. But actually, I guess because we already have the walls as we do, we can do this. Right, so do it like that. And then we can just kind of carve all the way up, like so. And if we wanted, we can always do like... Well, I guess we would want... Let's see, if we're going to do a ladder up, because I don't want to do this spiral stairs. That's just so much mouse movement and turning around. I mean, to be fair, the play would just probably be to like hypertube this, which actually... hypertube support. Could we... So that's a wall hole, floor hole. So we could actually... I don't have any copper sheets. We could totally do it like this and just go floor to floor. Yeah, I'll explore that. I'm gonna explore that. I'm not going to chew up too much time as is. Actually, I'm going to keep these open so that way I remember to do this. But I think we'll do some hypertube travel from floor to floor instead of some manual running, you know. We're at that phase. We might as well use the technology and make it a little simpler and easier for us to navigate. So with that being said, if we're going to do hypertubes from floor to floor, then we don't need to worry about aligning walkways. So what I would recommend we actually do here, if we're going to do hypertubes, that means we're going to save this corner, I believe. Yes. So I'll keep this open. We can, when it comes to transporting up and down, we can do our output here in the middle. So this would be going down. Like, I mean, this is the output of encased industrial beams. And then we can do this going up and this going up. So our output, actually, let's continue this. Yeah, let's continue. Well, let's hold on a second. Because if we want to keep the output here symmetrical for this floor, the steel beams going up, then that would mean steel beams come up here. But then that would mean like this is like going up. This would say, for example, be going up because the limestone's on that side, and then this is going down. I feel like that would be a little weird. We could always do it a little different, actually. We could always have... everything in the middle. That would feel weird doing it in the middle. We can always do it on the sides here. We could always do steel beams going up here, concrete going up here, up next to the stuff. And then we maintain this actually as the output. So then what we would do, just have this be input, merge. Just got the Mark III for now still. So that'll be the output. And then this would be the concrete going up. And so we can actually just probably maintain this going down. Do that once more. And then, yeah, we just bring the concrete over like we did there. Oh. Do it like that. Yeah, I like that. And then this will be our output, so this will come back down. We're making 30, so we can just use Mark 1 for everything. I'll have it facing the front. The direction. Just have this come down again. Actually, let's see. If we bring it down again, we're gonna have to go... Actually, this works out, I think, perfectly. In, like, a coincidence standpoint. Because we do... Oh, nope, it comes down right in the middle of this. Coal coming in. I wonder... It'd be weird to somehow bring it... I mean, if we really wanted, I could totally do it. Instead of building the splitter for the coal this high, we actually build it down here. And then this gives us the vertical space, this third level essentially. This gives us the space to actually run. Yeah, I'm gonna dismantle all this. And then we'll bring coal up to here, like so. And then we'll actually bring the encased industrial beams down. Let's see, if we want to try and do this relatively cleanly, we can do it on this side, like that. I don't know if it'll reach. Just does. Nice. I think we might have some breathing room, actually. Yeah, we do. But we can do it to here. And then 1, 2, 3, 4. So essentially, actually, I think it would maybe go here. Oh, I gotta reverse the direction. Perfect. So, this is now our output of encased industrial beams. We no longer need this. And I forgot that this exists, actually. What's below here? Gotcha. So this goes into where our truck station is. Oh, I shouldn't. Well, that's not too bad. I can just do this. So, that's weird. We won't do that. Actually, we'll do it like this, and we're going to rotate this. Just bring this straight in. Like so. And then this will be our output. Right, this is in the back. Yes, perfect. Okay, so this will then go down into a splitter, which will split. Actually, we'll need a smart splitter, which we don't have at our disposal at the moment. Oh, almost. Almost perfect. Is there a way we can make that no, I don't think so. That's the input. That's the fuel. That's fine. This is all hidden away anyway. And not visible. We don't need input for the fuel, which is good. So put this back. That goes in the middle. And that's our output. So I'm going to go ahead and get back up on top now. And that should sort that out. So now for the floor above, however, so we have our inputs set. Oops, no. Dang it. Okay, so we have our outputs here and here, and what we have going on is we have 18 constructors to build on the next floor, which will occupy the same foundations. So from here to this foundation here is where they'll be occupying the space. So what I'd like to do is we'll keep this row clear for navigation. This row is output, this row is inputs up to the next floor. So this will be able to go flat into the next floor. We'll want to build out to this, to here as well. I'm wondering if we'll leave a gap here. I don't think so. I think we'll do a full maintained floor, essentially. I kind of want to go get copper sheets and just build the navigation. I think I'm going to go do that. Before we get started, I want to experiment with that and see what it looks like. So let's go do that real quick. So post-editing Scalti here. I decided to just cut that part out. It didn't really flow well, and ultimately I didn't find a strong solution, and the length of this is probably getting quite long. So I'm opting to just, let's go ahead and move forward with the next floor, which I'm building the sandwich layer for here, and continue on, and ultimately, I will revisit navigable space in the future. So, alright, just wanted to cue you guys in. Take care. So for the constructors here, here's what I'm thinking about doing to kind of make things visually simple and easy. So we need 10 constructors for our concrete, 450, and then 150 concrete, and then we need 8 constructors for our steel beams, and our concrete is coming up over on this side right here, essentially down below. So what I'd like to do, and then I guess I can also mark our steel. So what I would like to do is take our concrete, and we're going to need to do 2 separate 1-to-5 load balancers, or the other option that I can kind of look at seeing if it's possible is doing 2. Also, actually, yeah, what I might end up doing is I'll probably flip these constructors around, so that way we can use the bulk of the middle here as the logistics for the floor, because the output is just going to get merged onto a single line. And it'd be easier to output that to the side here and run it down this way, rather than trying to merge everything into the middle, because we essentially have 3, we'll call it 5 foundations technically, of, 3, because we have the input to the constructor. So if I actually flip this around, like so, we'll have our inputs here. Essentially the same thing on this side as well. So it'd be here. So it leaves us, I guess, technically 2.5 foundations, or 2 foundations of space. So I think it'd be like a 1-to-5 split, and then each of those 5 lines splits into 2. So it's going to be a little bit of a tight fit. I'm thinking we can make that work. And I think I'll do that here, because we also have this, we kind of technically have this space over here that's free. Yes, we will have like our outputs to deal with. I can probably bring the outputs up over on that side. Or technically I can run them along the edge here and bring the outputs up over here somewhere. And then that affords us some of this space here too, to also make the 1 to 5 splitter system, which I think we might actually do it that way. And then that allows us to just kind of like run the belting down the middle. And then what I'll do with the steel that's coming up is I can just take this and run it down to, it'd be here. And then this goes into the middle. And then we'd have a splitter like this. And then in front of here, we would do a splitter. And then we do a splitter here. And then we have like our inputs, outputs. So the output would be here. So the splitter would be like this. And then the oh, nope. Ah, wait. Splits. This splits into 2. Okay, I was a little off on the positioning, but it'd be like this. Then it would just come down or go up like that, essentially. I guess if we wanted to clean it up, we can actually do it like this instead. Get rid of the extra belt. Or, wait, sorry, splits 2. Yeah, it works something like that. I don't know. Well, I'll go over it, but it's pretty much essentially going to... Oh yeah, it works like this, because this will split in this direction. This is going to split off in this direction, so that's 4 and 4. Or 2 and 2, and then this will be 2 and 2 off of this splitter here. So we'll do 2 here, the 2 there. Do it like that. So it'll make a lot more sense when I actually put the logistics in. But I'm going to go ahead and flip around all these constructors and then get the logistics in. Okay, so I was able to keep this, that's strange looking. I was able to keep this relatively simple. I actually recalled an old way, not an old way, but the first way I learned how to make a 1 to 5 splitter is actually simpler than how I've used them in my guides. And so, to try and explain this as best I can, our concrete comes up at 450 per minute. Comes around here and it goes into a merger first. This merger then goes into this splitter. This splits into 2 lines. We take 1 line and we separate this 1, 2, 3 ways. We then take the extra line that goes into a splitter, and this gets separated 1, 2, 3 ways as well. So it's all technically an even split. So we have I think I need to make that mark too. I will just in case. So we have the other 2 lines here and here. So that gives us our 10 because each of these splitters splits twice. So 1 goes into 3, 1 goes into 3, but then this 3rd line comes back out and around and then into the merger and then goes back into the loop. And then based on how the splitters function, it then gets evenly distributed across all of the lines, and eventually it's a little inefficient for like the first, I don't know, like 30 or so items, something like that. It resolves itself very quickly and then turns into a 1 to 5 split, needless to say. And from here though, we have our steel coming up and running it all the way down to here. Like I said, it just splits once, twice, and then each of those splits into 4 separate groups of 2, giving us our 8 in total. And that's the logistics for that floor. Quite simple. The outputs, based on the allotted space and kind of where we have everything else kind of going on, we can't do it exactly where it was before. We do have some space here where we can just run the 2 up in the middle actually, which I kind of like the idea of. So we could do something like this. Actually, I stand corrected. What we can do instead is we'll actually go out to here. Do one in the middle. and then out to here. So we'll continue our output coming down. Actually, I'm sorry, our output is right here. So we'll continue the output where it is normally. That way that's consistent, and then these will go up to our next floor, and the next floor is going to be super simple. Just getting the assemblers in place. And what I'm doing to kind of get the height, and I'll match it from what we did down here. I'll kind of show you. I'll build out to the side actually. Take a 4 meter. I built it up 4 times, like a lot of my other builds. And essentially I just build up 4 meters at minimum. Like I use that as the base value when building up. With the intention of leaving enough space between the bottom of the sandwich layer and whatever machinery is below, to where I can, you know, run electricity and potentially put in some lights. I was thinking about lifting it up one more higher than this, but I don't think it's really going to matter. The lights will have plenty of clearance in there, so I think it'll be fine. And the reason why I do the 4 meters to the top of the sandwich layer is in the event that I do want to place in the catwalks. The catwalk ramp is, I'm sorry, the stairs technically function on the 4 meter height value. So using the base 4 when figuring out the floor height is the recommended solution. So I'll just do another 4 again because that'll give me more than enough space. And then we'll do the, oops. So that'll be main. We'll do basic wall, full frame window, basic wall 1 meter. That didn't snap right. Let's see, let's go up. And this will give us, you know, our sandwich layer. I'm glad I caught this. I'm actually going to go up 1 more from here because we're working with assemblers. And I want to make sure that we have enough room for our logistics. It makes it a lot easier to run it like this, essentially. So I'm going to go ahead and get the sandwich layer built out, and then we'll take a look at assembler placement. Okay, I was on a roll, and I went ahead and set everything up just to kind of get the factory up and running. I did switch up the top here. Instead of doing 5 assemblers, where we could have definitely load balanced 1 to 5, no problem. Similar to what we did on the floors below, I opted for the symmetry. So I went ahead and did 6, so these will all be running a little inefficiently. They'll be running at 100 divided by 6. 83.3 repeated will be their operating efficiency, and that should be all said and done until we get to the next phase. 41.166 repeating. Once everything kind of catches up, I noticed a couple of issues on a couple of lists that I placed. They were Mark 1 and not Mark 3. But something else that I did a little bit of testing on, and I'm going to revise the logistics floor here. So this is it's simple and easy to understand, you know, because we're doing a 1 to 2 to 6, or a 1 to 2 to 3, essentially. So we have a line coming up here and a line coming up there based on what we have below, like before. The thing that I tested though, and what I'm going to do to revise the floor is, you might notice there's concrete and steel beams on the same belt. And essentially that is because you technically only need, if you're able to feed the assembler all the items you need, you can do it on 1 belt. It'll still receive the items regardless of what belt it comes in on. It's not like belt, or it's not input specific. That makes sense. So we only actually need a 1 to 2 to 6, essentially, where we don't even need like this top level of logistics at all. And what we can do actually down below here is, instead of bringing it up in two separate lifts, we can merge them all in like the middle, for example, and then just bring those up in one. That works specifically in this instance as well because it's 270 items total. It's I believe it's the 150 concrete and 58 30 times 4, 120 steel beams. 150 concrete and then 24 times 5, 120 steel beams. Yeah, so 120 plus 150 is 270. And the Mark III belts transport 270 items per minute. So we actually only need the output from this floor here, merging onto one belt of 270, and then taking that up into our 6 assemblers. So that's probably what I'm going to do. But overall, I know that my splitter, my 1 to 5 system is working because we're hovering at the 50% mark on the efficiency for all of our concrete. So that's good. I'm not sure if the steel is caught up. No, the steel is definitely lagging behind. I'll have to investigate and kind of see what's going on there. I think something may have gotten messed up. I feel like... Is it this here? So it's not the lift. It's not that lift. It's likely down below here. I think this might be where I have the Mark 1 lift. Yes, it's this here. So that's what was hamstringing that. Okay, so that's all sorted out. So we should be ramping up to 50% efficiency and producing 15 encased industrial beams per minute for the moment. Right, I'm pretty sure we're making 30. I don't believe we're making 60. But, so yeah, I'm gonna revise, like I said, I'm gonna revise the logistics floor, but I just wanted to kind of get the shell. Yeah, we're making 30, so we're making 15 per minute, essentially. But I ran the electricity. I'm not sure, I mean, it's fairly hidden away because it falls in line with the seam here, or the edge of the window. But, this is gonna, essentially do it for now. We have everything automated that we can. I mean, there's some stuff in the man that we can automate technically. Well, actually, no, I think the last I recall, because it's been a while since the last episode, I think that's actually... We can do... I mean, we can automate high speed. No, we can't, because that's plastic. We could... No, that's the power switch. We don't want to automate that. That requires that. That requires computers. Quartz. Yeah, we don't need to automate. Wait, what? The prerequisite for this is ammunition. Can we even make that? I don't even recall unlocking that. I think that comes later. So yeah, the encased industrial beams are the last thing to automate. So yeah, we don't have the ammunition yet. Oh, I did build the zipline thing. It's a little fun. It's definitely slow. I'm looking forward to update 7 though, because you can use the sprint modifier to increase your speed. So I'm gonna go ahead and revise the logistics down here and how we're bringing it up, just to kind of simplify it. And I find that if we can avoid all the extra logistics down here, that's essentially being more efficient, if you will. Granted, we're technically running at 100% efficiency, even though we have some machines running less than that. I think the trade-off of simplicity of logistics makes more sense. So, alright, I'm gonna go ahead and fix this. Okay, we're in a really good spot now with the build. I've essentially encased the entire thing in glass, as per usual. I know it's a box, again. The one thing I definitely want to do next time around when it comes to a build is be a little bit more thoughtful on the overall
exterior focus like I tried to do with that one. It didn't really work out. So I think before I even lay any kind of foundation, it's identifying what machines are needed for the build, and then you know, figuring out the space required, and then what can I do that is visually unique for it. So I don't have automated quick-wire yet. I don't have any, like, I'm not tapped. Wait, yes I am. I'm tapped in over there. But yeah, I'll put lights up and get this all sorted out. I'll probably do that when I come back and upgrade all of our belts once we get the Mark IV logistics unlocked in our next tier. But as it stands, everything's running at 50%. This isn't going anywhere? I literally forgot the outputs for all of this. That explains a lot. I'm glad I found that. It's a little awkward. Whoops. So, I also went ahead and got our logistics on the top floor sorted out. So we can go check that out real quick. And I'm just doing ladders for our vertical navigation for right now. I was thinking I want to revisit the hypertube option now that we have this clean space over here. I was thinking, you know, it's like one tube goes up to the first floor, one goes to the second, one goes to the top floor here, and kind of see how that shakes out. And then to like get access to the floors below, we have like the empty space over here and here to an extent. So I'm curious to see, like, you know, could we do some type of door system? So we get a little door, and then we do, let's see, oops, something like this. The only thing that I dislike about this, well, let me look at our roofs real quick. So we have glass. Oh, do I not have other roofs on here? No, I do not. I think that's architecture. Or is it foundations? No. It's not walls, is it? We got tilted wall. Or maybe I just haven't unlocked a style? Oh no, here we go. See, like, this doesn't... It looks weird, you know? I guess actually what we could do... No, because there's no 1 meter... Well, actually, let's try something. So we could do... we snap it here. That feels really short. It's like if we were to say take that and then honestly we could probably just do, well, no, because then it doesn't snap properly to this floor. What would be the best way to do this? Let's look at the catwalk. We can do the catwalk ramp perhaps. Not the stairs. Up. That clips down. I guess maybe that's one of the downsides to how the sandwich layer is now with the 4 meter high situation here, is that there isn't too much of a clean. Let's see if we take this out. I mean, we might run into that. However, we can go the other. No, I can't go the other way. We could do it right here on the edge, but I feel like that would look a little weird. To go down and in. Doing it in the center doesn't make any sense because we have all of our logistics down there. I do wish, you know, to an extent, there was a way to put like a door in the floor, like an access utility hatch, right? So it's like you take literally the door and how it like opens and kind of merge it with like the structure of a conveyor lift hole. Maybe a little bit bigger, you know, instead of like, what is this, so it's 2 meters. So it's like, instead of 2, it's like 4 meters. And it's a door that you can like drop down into like, yeah, it's like an access hatch. I think would be kind of cool. Excuse me. I think for the moment we'll just have to delete foundations. Unfortunately, I think, you know, next build too, I'll be a little bit more thoughtful on you know, gaining access into the sandwich layers, because we're gonna, like I said, we're gonna have to come back and upgrade all this stuff. But while we're here, I will show the simplified logistics. So essentially it's just the 1-270 belt coming up. That's not doing anything. What's going on here? Concrete's oh, that's a flaw. Well, technically this wouldn't happen because we'd have enough of a split. I think. Actually, no, the concrete would max out. This is actually a pretty critical error on my part, so we'd actually have to revert and go back to how we had it. And that means we can't, because we're producing far more concrete than steel beams, right? Because we need the 150 concrete, and we only need 120 steel beams. So that means that there's a, we will, well no, because, okay, so we should be fine because the concrete was overproduced because we had a lack of steel beams being made because the output for those 6 foundries weren't connected at the very bottom. So that allowed concrete to overwhelm the system. Does that look weird now? Just like no input? It seems... but yeah, it shouldn't overwhelm the system because it'll be used as at a 1-to-1 ratio. It's not like we're overflowing concrete and we're making an abundance of it. It's just because our steel beam production was hamstringed. And as a result, the concrete flooded the system and resulted in the failure, which one could argue is inefficient. So I think what I'll do for now is I'm going to leave the system as is, and I will wait to make any revision until we get Mark IV logistics unlocked, and we'll go from there. But I think as is, that's not moving. Okay, looks like we got some more bugs to work out. That's, I think we're just hamstringed by the coal, which we're still, yeah, we're underproducing. I had a, oh, I still need to overclock it. Even though it's a Mark II mine or a pure node, we're only getting, wait, this is a pure node, isn't it? Did I mess up a belt somewhere? Mark III, Mark III, Mark I. That's why. And I need to, okay, I have that on me. That makes a lot more sense. This is, the downside, oh, that's not what I need. The downside to taking a break from the game clearly shows. Yeah, you just kind of forget some stuff. So that should now be producing 240 per minute, of which we will then eventually overclock. Or do we have the power shards on us now? Alright, let's just do this now before I forget. Obviously it'll flood, which is fine. I'm okay with that. Might as well go ahead and put a door on this as well. Like so. So yeah, that'll bring some stuff up to speed. So we'll probably have to flush the concrete once more at some point. But I would consider this, for the moment, like I said, build complete. I'm not going to worry about getting the train set up. I want the local storage to fill, which, granted, in time it will. So let's head back to main base, and I want to double check everything and really truly confirm that I am automating everything that we can automate so far, and revisit the MAM tree, MAM research tree, and kind of look through that. And then I think maybe after, I want to look at tapping into that extra pure coal node that we have over there where our one miner was that we just upgraded and overclocked. I think it might be worth to just preemptively route that extra coal over to our coal generator system there and expand that, which I'll just do. I'm not going to involve that in like the next episode or anything. We've done enough on coal power. And then we'll also be able to enhance the delivery of the other miner, I think, to 480. So, yep, not going to bother with that. So if we look through our list here of things that we can automate, we are automating quick wire. We are not actually automating AI limiters, now that I think about it. And I'm not sure. We could absolutely do that. I don't see the let's see, because I'm not sure if AI limiters are used in other things. I want to say, I think they moved to the quartz tree now. No, okay, they're still in Iterative. It was the Blade Runners that moved over. So AI limiters go into supercomputers. So we could automate, let's see. So if I recall correctly, the clean setup is 630 per minute. I want to say it is. So if we did 30 per minute, that's 600 quick wire and 150 copper sheets. So that's 15 constructors. That, and then quick wire, we said 300, so it's 5 constructors for that. So it's 20 constructors total. I will consider it. I think maybe we don't have the supercomputer recipe unlocked because we need the AI limiters. Maybe let's do that first. So if we go back in here, well, we don't have the high-speed connectors. Once we get those made, we can. I wish I could see the recipe for this preemptively, because I'm wondering if we can just make it all inline. So instead of making a factory that builds strictly AI limiters, we just... Oh, it's 50 per minute, though. That's... Oh, no, sorry. That's just to unlock it. Sorry. I'm getting ahead of myself. So I'm thinking what we can do... Yeah, it's just build AI limiters in line instead of making a factory dedicated towards it. And maybe what we can kind of do there is we can produce AI limiters in abundance. So more than what we would actually need for the supercomputer, whatever math that works out to be, and then we take those AI limiters and put them into a small storage on the side, so that way we have constant access to AI limiters, so that way we can procure or produce the smart splitters. So let's look at, I have the temporary setup over here. I don't know if everything is complete. I think we might have everything ready to go. So we have 100 automated wiring. We have, what is this? 12 times 50 is 600. We have an abundance of smart plating. And then we have 8 and 10. We have all of our versatile framework as well. So let's go ahead and just temporarily store this. Alt recipes, I don't think there's anything worth grabbing actually, because for most of what I've explored, we don't have the items necessary to finish it. So technically I don't need to be over here, but here we go. Welcome to phase 3. Oh, 4. Phase 4. We're completing phase 3. Cool. Oh, no. We are in phase 3. Sorry. I didn't realize. I thought there was going to be some type of messaging about completing the phase. I completely forgot. So what do we need for Mark 408? Wait. Oh, here we go. Expanded power infrastructure. We need 100 computers, 400 rubber, and 50 heavy modular frames. Industrial manufacturing. So we need to just start with oil processing. Yes. And that allows us to then make the rubber and plastic, to then do everything else. Oh boy. Alright, we have a task ahead of us, and fun fact, we are essentially almost caught up with where we're almost to the point where I've gotten doing normal playthrough. I have not gotten past tiers 5 and 6. You know, I unlocked trains, but didn't even really do anything with it, because I was working on, you know, I had a really crappy heavy modular frame factory. So, the focus will be oil, and then after oil, I don't think we'll do the industrial manufacturing. Well, actually, I guess we'll need to, so that we get the computers unlocked. And then from there, we'll go straight to expanded power structure and get that sorted out. And then I'm wondering, unknown chemical element. We don't have any, or maybe because I haven't picked it up. Yeah, we don't have any sulfur. I think I saw, is there sulfur over here? I thought there was a little sulfur. Oh, that's the limestone, right? Yeah, that's limestone. Turbo fuel. I want to look at that. I have a design in mind. I've been exploring with something on the side. I'm just kind of dabbling around with a really neat design structure. It's not going to be a cube. Really excited for it, but we'll have to wait. So I think we're at a good spot. We have everything automated. We got phase 2 complete. So we have our next objective, and that is working towards unlocking oil processing, which we now have because we have automated our encased industrial beams. And so we'll get that started in the next episode. That was a bit of an intense one. It felt a little clunky. You know, it doesn't help to be taking extended periods of time off from playing this game. It's not like riding a bike where you can come back and just kind of pick it right back up. I mean, you can to an extent, but there's definitely certain things that you have to refamiliarize yourself with and whatnot. So I'm looking forward to what's to come in this new year. I hope everyone had a great holiday, and I'm excited for what's to come for this channel. I hope the good things come to you all and this game, and you know, admittedly myself. You know, I think
the last couple of years have been a little rough, and I'm feeling like we're on an upswing, so I'm excited for that. But if you guys enjoyed the episode, feel free to leave a like. It does help out the channel. If you want to see more content in the future, be sure to subscribe if you're not already. And if you have any questions about what I'm doing, why I'm doing it, and etc., leave a comment below, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. But with that, thank you all so much for watching. Take care.